Hi guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia. Today is Friday, the 5th of September 2025, and I'm so glad you're joining me today to talk about some knitting. If you're here for the first time, then welcome, and if you're coming back, thank you so much for being a regular viewer of this podcast. Today will be a super quick update because I have some plans, and also I've only really been knitting on 2 things this week. But I did want to check in because, as you may know, Friday is my day off and my son is now finally back in school. So I actually just have this window to record and I'm not going to miss that. So I have a finished object, which you never saw as a work in progress. But I decided to use up the leftovers of the yarn that I used to knit a pair of socks over summer, which I wasn't able to show you because I gifted them while in Germany. But this yarn is sock yarn from Das Mondschaf, from her Breaking Bad club, which my lovely friend Marian gifted me at least a year ago, if not 2. I think this may have been the big blue colorway, don't quote me on it, but it's very beautiful. And like I said, I knit a pair of socks for Marian out of this. And then I had some leftovers, and I remembered that my son really liked this colorway when I caked it up. So I decided to make him some school socks. And when I say school socks, here in the UK, at least in my son's school, but I think most of them, they need to be wearing grey or black socks. Maybe you can get away with white, but not crazy socks. Although we have on occasion done that too, but you're not supposed to. Anyway, so what we do is we make a grey cuff and then we make crazy colors on the bottom of the sock. Hence the term school socks. And my son loves it. He gets such a kick out of knowing he's wearing like crazy neon socks or something at the bottom and no one can see it. So I made him these, and the yarn is not really showing up properly. It's looking very blue, but trust me, it is a perfect turquoise. My camera is just not liking it. But essentially what I do is I knit him, by now I'm doing like a EU size 30. I think that's like a UK 11 and a half. I like to go on the big side because his feet will only grow. So I do a 52 stitch sock on my regular 2.25 millimeter needles. And in this case, I used the grey, which is a Filcolana Aweta yarn, a couple of times already, and I thought I had loads, but no, I was running really, really low. So basically I just used all the grey that I had, and I knit like a fair bit of one sock, then out of the inside of the bowl I knit the other one, and then I knit them 2 at a time to get like every last bit of grey into the sock, because I really didn't want to add a third color. And I think I just about made it. And then for my son, he's the only person for whom I do heel flap and gusset heel, because it fits him better. And I also think with a heel flap and gusset, you're a bit more flexible if they grow. Whereas with a short row heel, if then the foot grows, it'll just fit really awkwardly. So yeah, that is my son's sock. I sort of loosely follow I think there's like a toddler socks pattern, like a free one of Pearl Soho. And that's what I tend to use for the heel turn, just because I can never remember it. And the larger size of the Pearl Soho toddler or kid sock, or whatever it's called, has 52 stitches. So that works really well. So those are my son's socks, which I have hidden from him since I finished them, because I knew that if I showed them to him, he would not get the concept of letting me show them on the podcast. He would want to wear these straight away, so he will get them after school today. Next up, very, very, very briefly, I'll show you my Osaka scarf that I have been knitting on a bit, but honestly not much has changed. I talked about these scarves in detail in the last couple of episodes, so if you want more information, maybe head there. But yeah, I've made some progress. I think like 5 rows off finishing this color and joining the 3rd one, which will be exciting, so I'll hopefully be doing that today. And then she says, while almost stabbing herself in the eye, Of course, I have been obsessively, endlessly working on my iris sweater by Trin Annelie, which I talked about last week. And look, it's looking like a sweater. I am so excited about this. It's not even funny. So for those who weren't watching last week, this is the Iris sweater, which is an all-over colorwork sweater by a designer called Trin Annelie. I'm not sure about the pronunciation. I believe she's in Germany, but don't quote me on it. And when this came out, I just ordered the original kit in the original colors from Holst. So this is all Holst Garn Super Soft. And then I was a little bit scared to cast it on because it is a little bit complicated. So I just sat, I think I ordered this for myself as my Christmas gift or something. It was definitely over Christmas. And then it just sort of sat there and looked at me, that kit. And I finally cast it on the day before my son's birthday party last week. No, the day, who knows? Oh, a few weeks ago. And last time I showed it to you, I think I was sort of at the bottom of the first row of flowers. And this garment has 3 steeks. So it has one for the neck opening, which as you can see has been opened. And then last time I showed it to you, I still had my steek for the armholes, which I have since also opened up. So what I've done this week is I basically knit to where you finish the armhole steek. And then what I like to do is I put in a knitted reinforcement. So usually with a steek, people will crochet to sort of secure the yarn before you cut into your knitting. Why am I doing this? You know what cutting is. I prefer to do a knitted steek, which I believe I got that from Ellie of Skandia, but don't quote me. I haven't really found much on it. But essentially, instead of using a crochet hook, you use you just use knit stitches, which makes it lie a bit flatter. I find that if I do the crochet, it sort of sticks out a bit. So I do the knit steek, and in this case, because it's quite a short steek panel, I also sort of reinforced it a little bit, just like stitching it. And then I steam the whole thing. So I recently got a steamer. And it's actually really useful with these kinds of projects because, as you'll know, the Holst garn is quite sort of thin and still has spinning oil in it. So your color work doesn't look super great when you knit with it. But then, obviously, when you wash it, this yarn becomes really beautiful, but steaming it while it's on the needles has a little bit of the same effect, and the pattern even recommends that you steam your stitches, your steek stitches and reinforcement before you cut, because it just means that the little fibers will stick to each other and just make it a little bit less likely for it all to unravel. So I steamed it, and then I couldn't do this for the neckband, but for the sleeves, what I like to do, if I can, is I pick up the sleeve stitches before I cut it. So I picked up, for both sleeves, I picked up my stitches. I think I did 2 rounds because that's how many rounds you do before you start the color work again. So there's 2 rounds of knitting on each of my sleeves. So that means that if I then cut it afterwards, like it'll be a little bit more secure, and I just won't then disturb the stitches by picking up and doing things with it. So I've done all of these things. All of my steeks are now cut open, and I just like to tack them back a little bit because it'll always be a little bit bulky, but I just sort of stitch it down. So once I cut off all of the ends, and I think most of them are actually sewn in, it'll be quite pretty. So now I have both sleeves on my little cords, and I can just pick up my sleeves whenever I'm ready to do so. I've got the correct stitch count for each. And honestly, both picking up for the sleeves and picking up for the neckline was less of a hassle than I thought it would be. So that was really good. So yesterday I had the day off and I decided to tackle the neckband. Apologies for the cough break. I had a cold last week and it is still there. You can probably hear it. So I picked up for the neckband yesterday, and I had decided that I want to make a slightly snugger neckline. And a couple of other people have done the same on Ravelry, because the original patterns one is really wide, and I don't want it to be super tight, but I also don't want it to feel too big. So I cast on a few stitches less than the pattern recommends. And if you're interested in any of this, I am keeping relatively good project notes on my Ravelry, which is linked below. So if you can use Ravelry and you are interested in the details, you will find them there. But yeah, I cast on a few less stitches, which worked out really well. And then I did this double folded neckband, which took most of my knitting time that I had yesterday. And then I just knitted it down, and doesn't it look so much better once the neckline is in? I think it just makes such a difference. The neckline hasn't been steamed yet, so I think this all will relax a little bit once I steam it next, which I will definitely do soon because I am obsessed with steaming this thing. But yeah, this is where we are. So essentially now I just go round and round on the body doing the color work, and all the tricky bits are done. All the sticks are done, all the the neckband is done, the short rows and the difficult cast on obviously is done. So I say just, it's still a lot of knitting, but it's a lot of straightforward knitting. Now I just do my chart, keep going, knit the body, then knit the sleeves, for which the only slightly tricky bit will be figuring out the decreases, but that shouldn't be that hard. And this is so enjoyable. Honestly, this has been saving my sanity this past week, which this week has been quite busy with work suddenly picking up a lot, and my son was still at home until yesterday, and yeah, life has been busy. We've had the gas engineer, we've had the chimney sweeper, we've had all sorts of stuff happening. But this has really brought me so much joy, and yeah, I can't wait to wear this. So yeah, remember last week when I was thinking, how long will this take me? I think it really depends. If I keep focusing on this as I have, it won't take me a year. Can it be done by Christmas? It just depends, I think. But yeah, this is my big iris update. I am knitting it out of the original colors. I am knitting size 2, and it turns out now that I've knit a fair chunk and measured my gauge again, I am perfectly on gauge. I'm using 3mm needles and 2.5mm needles for the rib. So that is the iris. And then just some knitting plans to discuss with you. Firstly, last week I said to my knitting friend, there is no way I am not doing the Stephen West Mystery Knit Along. Are you doing it? Let me know, because I have changed my mind. I, of course, looked at the kits that came out yesterday. I was never going to buy a kit. I think the kits that they come out with are very beautiful every single year, but they also tend to be quite pricey, and you get little extras and bits and stuff that I don't really need. But what I do like to do, if you remember, and if you've been around for a while, is I like to make budget versions of the Stephen West Mystery Knit Alongs that he does every year. So I've done one from Stash with different cones. I've done 2 from Stash. Last year's I did with Cascade 220 fingering, which is quite affordable. And I was just looking at the colors, and I knew it was a bad idea, but I went to the Wool Warehouse website and just looked at the Cascade 220 again. Cascade 220 fingering, which is it's a really light fingering. It's 100% wool. I really like it, and it's I think $4.90 or something a skein. So I was like, what colors would I choose? And of course, I ended up buying yarn to make I think it's called Musical, this year's Stephen West Mystery Knit Along. I mean, it wasn't that expensive, to be honest. And if I don't like the first clue, I will make a beautiful full-colored jumper or something else out of the yarn. I just feel really bad because I wasn't going to do it, and I wanted to commit all of my time to all the garments that I want to knit. But again, that's why I said with the iris, who knows how much time I will spend on it going forward, because once the MCAL kicks off, if I do it, I will be obviously spending a lot of time on that as well. So who knows, but apparently I am in. I will show you the yarn once it arrives. I've picked basically, very unsurprisingly, I've picked like pinks, corals, and a yellow pop, which is probably the most me color combination at the moment. So no one will be surprised. I hope they will be really, really pretty. But yeah, let me know if you're considering the mystery knit along, if I can convince you to join me. I know at least one friend from work is doing it, so it would be really fun to do it together. And I think that's part of it, which makes it fun for me. And I actually do wear mine quite a lot. So yeah, that was something I didn't expect to do, but here we are. And then lastly, I usually don't show you my acquisitions, but I did want to show you some yarn that arrived because I have a plan for it. And is that the Amazon man? We shall see. I got myself some Knitting for Olive heavy merino when they had their Gaza thing a few weeks back. Because I have been wanting this heavy merino for a long time. Because I've seen some sweaters with it and how it like sort of wears over time, and I really like the feel of it. And specifically, I have been wanting this colorway, which is blood orange, for at least a year. I love this colorway. I think it's so beautiful. I've almost bought it at Beautiful Knitters a while ago, and I just really, really like it. So I decided to finally pick it up, and I also fell in love with a pattern of theirs called Katold Sweater, which is a Knitting for Olive pattern. And it uses two colors, a light one and then a dark one for color, all over color work. And I decided to switch it around. So what I'm doing is I'm doing this for my main color. And then I picked up this very, very pale pink, it's barely pink, called Ballerina for the contrast. And this is another colorwork sweater, obviously with much thicker yarn. But I would like to knit this knitting season, this autumn, winter. I'm not sure if it will happen, but I would really, really like to. So I thought I'd show it to you so you can tell me to go ahead and do it if I forget about it in a couple of months. So yeah, I'm not sure if any of you have knit the Katold sweater. It's a simple colorwork sweater, but it looks really, really cozy. And I think I will need cozy, and I also love colors. Like, I want more colorful things in my life, and this color is amazing. I may have also picked up another color to do a big sort of cable project, but we will see when that happens. It's not happening right away. There were some issues. The color that I originally wanted was then sold out, But anyways, I'm showing you this so you can hold me accountable. Because I think this is so pretty. I mean, it would also make a good Christmas sweater. The one that I picked and I bought the pattern for, the Katold by Olive Knitting for Olive, is not a Christmas sweater, but I think any colorwork sweater, especially if it's in this sort of color, can be a Christmas sweater, and I don't make the rules. So yeah, those are sort of my knits, my knitting plans, and other things I've been thinking about. I'm definitely thinking about a lot of knitting these days. I'm just, it's like early September. It's really, really autumnal already outside. And I just want to knit all the things, which is a shame because my work is going to get busy and life is busy, and I have no idea how it's all going to happen, but I'd rather be in this conundrum than not have my knitting mojo. So I will take this. And I also have today off, so I will now, I've already done a bit of cleaning this morning, and I'm planning to just sit and knit until I pick up my son and deal with all of those shenanigans. So yeah, that is basically my update for today. I was planning on recording a quick one. We are now at almost 20 minutes, so that's more than I thought I would talk about. But I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Do let me know what you're working on. I hope that wherever you are in the world, you are healthy and happy and safe and have some yarn to play with. I apologize if this episode was a little bit rushed. Like I said, I have some plans to call a friend, but anyways, I hope you have a lovely day. Happy knitting. Bye.